G'day folks, welcome to Sumo's Projects. In today's video, we're going to build this multifunctional outfeed table for your table saw. It can be extended out, it can be reconfigured, and it has storage. But before we go ahead with the build, love it if you could go ahead and do this. G'day folks and welcome to Sumo's Projects. In this video I'm transforming an old bookcase, as you can see here, and making it mobile with some casters. Everything mobile in the workshop is my motto nowadays. And this will be an outfeed table, outfeed bench to accommodate my table saw. One of the important factors to consider here is getting correct height for the outfeed to accommodate a table saw sled, and also the stock you're going to be running through the table saw. So as you can see at the back of the table saw we have rails, and I've got this scrap material which I had. This is going to fit in and wedge into that rail part. It's going to be a bit of a divider, so eventually you'll see that the outfeed will butt up to that. I'm going to connect that via some pocket holes. Always good to go to the pocket hole jig, the 720, a ripper machine. So attaching these bits of scrap with some pocket hole screws, they're part of the height that I'm needing. And what's going to happen here, I'm using form ply. I think everyone in Australia would agree with me that form ply is probably the greatest jig making material we can buy, cheap, and it looks alright. So securing here this piece which I've wedged into the rail at the back with some screws, and that's just somewhat of a buffer zone so I'm not butting up against the rails with the outfeed. So putting things into place, yes, the good old form ply top, pretty cheap to have. I have a little bit of clearance, probably a few millimetres, which will run over the top, as you can see. It's going to fall into place nicely. Just a little bit of tweaking as you're working along, take a few measurements and you should be on your way. So I had to run up to the hardware store. The back of the bookcase didn't have a back, and for that reason I grabbed some masonite, some good stuff to work with, relatively cheap as well. And yes, they do call me lightning with a hammer because I never strike in the same place twice. You'll find that form ply has rather a sharp edge like a lot of materials, so I put a round over on my router table and just made sure that I had a nice smooth finish. You don't want to be cutting your fingers as you're doing a project because you'll never get the project done, and that's not good for anyone. So working to very highly precise engineering standards with my tape measure and combination square, positioning the screws, the holes for the screws, they're going to be very much in eyesight, so I wanted to get this part of the build pretty much hunky-dory. And as you can see, it looks $1 million. Wow. So as you can see, the sled slides straight over the top beautifully. Now at the back, this is going to be a multi-functional outfeed. So I'm putting these hooks in, and as you see, what I'm going to be able to do with this particular build is to reposition it out for sheet goods. So I have a greater distance of capture for the materials I'm cutting. The back of my table saw had a few hooks, so in conjunction with the hooks I put on the outfeed, I'm making these spacers. These short ones, I don't know if I'll actually use them, but the longer ones I'm making, you'll see coming up, are definitely going to be really useful to the whole setup of this. So just doing a little bit of drilling a few holes, a couple of test pits, and I'm finding that it's relatively close to be able to position these. But anyway, I've got them in case I need them. These are the longer ones, and they're going to be absolutely magic. It'll prevent the outfeed table from moving, and we don't want that happening when we're using the table saw. So there you go, folks. It's a little bit of this and a little bit of that. You can make yourself something which is quite practical, useful, and you don't have to get rid of materials. You can always find another use for them. And it's a cheap way of making things as well by using leftovers and recycling. Thanks for watching. Until the next time, hooroo.